Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our session, Desalination for Climate Resilience. My name is Mahmoud, and I will be the moderator for this session. Today, we will explore how desalination, particularly the brackish water desalination, is emerging as a key response to Jordan's growing water challenges, and how it fits into strategies for climate resilience. We have an excellent lineup of speakers, each of whom will walk us through specific aspects of the topic. Before we begin, just a quick note that we will keep all the questions until the end of the session. We will have a short question and answer session with all the speakers. Our first speaker is Engineer Hala Shaheen, Technical Advisor at the Stormwater Utility Project, Desal Component at GIZ. Engineer Hala, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I will be speaking the introduction in Arabic, actually. شرفنا حضوركم جميعا، ويمكن قبل ما نبلش نحكي عن موضوع الديسالينيشن اللي هو بعد اتراكتيف تايتل اللي انتم مشكلوا هاي السيشن، يمكن لازم نذكر بعض شويه او نستحضر اهميه التحليه في سياق الاردن، في سياق التحديات الموجوده في قطاع المياه والوضع الحرج في الاردن من ناحيه الافيلابيلتي للووتر ريسورسز والديماند، واللي بيجعل التحليه هي ليست مجرد حل تقني الا انه هو حل استراتيجي للامن الوطني كذلك. فبنذكر بعض الفاكتس اند فيجرز بخصوص الوضع المائي بالاردن. عم نحكي عن انه الاردن هي من اكثر الدول ندرة في على مستوى العالم في نسبة المياه، ومن المنطق متوقع انه يزداد الطلب او الجاب ما بين الطلب والمتوفر من المياه الى نسبة 50% بحلول 2040 نتيجة للنمو السكاني والنمو الاقتصادي وزيادة الطلب على المياه الزراعية اللي هو هاي كومبيتيتور في السياق المائي في الأردن. عم نحكي عن كمان تناقص بالمقابل في تناقص الموارد المائية بشكل واضح، حيث يتوقع انه يصير في ديكلاين للووتر ريسورسز افيلابيلتي بحدود 30% بحدود 2040، وهذا بسبب الاستنزاف للاحواض المائيه والاستخراج الجائر بلغه اخرى، وهذا بالتالي هو بشكل اكثر بكثير من التغطيه او التغذيه الطبيعيه لمصادر المياه الجوفيه يصل الى دبل او تريبل تايمز اوف ذا ووتر تشارج للاحواض المائيه. اضافه الى ذلك التاثر بالتغير المناخ الملحوظ اللي بيأثر سلبا على توافر المياه، واللي هو كمان ضمن التحاليل مؤخرا بشكل 15% امباكت سلبي على المصادر المياه، في تراجع على المياه الجوفيه والسطحيه بنسبه 15% ملحوظه حاليا الى 2040 رح تكون كمان بازدياد. بكل هاي العوامل طبعا عم نحكي عن ووتر كواليتي، حيث انه في تفاوت وتراجع شويه في جوده المياه المستخرجه، بحيث انه في مستويات اعلى صارت من الحد الطبيعي في الملوحه، في كونتامينيشن وانواع من التلوث بسبب البراكتسز الهيومن براكتسز، وعندنا في بعض الاماكن في نحكي عن معادن ثقيله موجوده في بعض الريسورسز، واللي تستدعي طبعا كل هاي العوامل تستدعي طبعا يكون في عندنا اساليب تحليه ومعالجه لهي المصادر حتى يتم استخدامها. طبعا ينعكس هذا الاثر خلينا نحكي الكوميونيتيف، هي صارت عوامل مجتمعه على حصه الفرد اللي هي كانت سابقا نحكي عن 1000 حصه استراتيجيه في عوامل سابقه، هلا عم نحكي عن 61 متر مكعب حصه الفرد من جميع المصادر بالسنه، واللي هي متوقع كمان توصل كمان ريدكشن اكثر ل 35 متر مكعب بالسنه بحلول 2040. هلا من جهه ثانيه عم نحكي عن حصه الفرد من مياه الشرب، واللي هي بشكل 80% من الحصه المفروض انه هو يحصل عليها حسب السياسات والاستراتيجيات الوطنيه للمياه، بحيث انه السياسه حققت او طلبت انه يكون في 100 لتر بير كابيتا بير داي للفرد، الا انه احنا باحسن الاحوال عم نوصل هلا ل 80 لتر باليوم. عم نحكي عن فاقد مياه طبعا عالي جدا، مع انه كان في تحسن ملحوظ. بدنا نحكي عن شيء 50%، كان سابقا بالسنوات الاخيره 50%، نزل ل 46%، الا انه هذا الرقم لسه عالي جدا، انه عم بياثر على توافر المياه واستغلال المياه الامثل، خلينا نحكي للشرب والاستخدامات الاخرى. هلا هون عم نشوف كيف في عندنا البروجكشن للووتر ريسورسز مقابل انه الديماند عم يرتفع، في جاب كبيره، وهاي الجاب رح توصل مثل ما حكينا ل 50% وحلول 2040. في ايفورت كبيره خلينا نحكي تو بريدج هاي الجاب بريسورسز جديده، الا انه من الاكيد والملاحظ انه الفيوتشر ووتر سبلاي سكيورتي كان اونلي بي مانجد او considered through desalination, massive desalination through brackish water أو عم نحكي عن sea water ك large scale. من جهة أخرى بدنا نحكي عن أهمية البريكش ووتر هلا للأردن، حكينا عن كل التحديات والوضع المائي وشو الميجرز اللي ممكن نعملها هلا لنعالج هذا الموضوع، إلا إنه البريكش ووتر بشكل أساسي له خصوصيته، يعني بشكل أول شيء 13% من الووتر بادجت للتزويد المائي للدرينكينج ووتر. ثانيا هو عم بتزيد كميات المياه المالحه، لانه احنا عم نضطر انه نروح لديب اكوفرز وعم نروح على احواض ثانيه هي فيها ملوحه ملحوظه، فبالتالي احنا عن حاجتنا للديسالينيشن عم تزداد، نحكي عن البريكش ووتر. ومن جهه ثالثه عم نحكي عن انه بعض الكوميونيتيز واللي هي منتشره بالجوردن فالي بشكل اساسي، والمناطق وادي عربه والمناطق اللي شوي بنسميها نائيه، بتعتمد اعتماد كامل على هاي المصادر. اي مصدر اخر رح يكون غير مجدي وغالي جدا وما له بديل. في عندنا بوتنشال كمان تو انكريز، عم نحكي عن اهميه الووتر البريكش ووتر في الووتر بادجت، بس احنا كمان عندنا بوتنشال لانه تزداد هاي الكميه باضافه 50 مليون متر مكعب ثرو نيو ريسورسز تم برضه تحديدها في دراسات قريبه من السنوات السابقه. عم نحكي عن مناطق فيها اسبان فور اكزامبل كفرين وضحيه الرمل وراجب والازرق كمان. هذول بشكل طبعا 50 مليون رقم يعتبر significant للووتر بادجت بالوطن. وشكرا جزيلا، هذا كان بريف وصافي.
Thank you, Engineer Hala, for setting the ground and the stage and giving us the overview of why desalination is a critical for Jordan water security. Next, we have Engineer Imam, Head Section of Studies and Design at the Desalination Department in WAF, who will walk us through a technical framework for the brackish water desalination. Please, Engineer Imam.
شكرا لحضوركم جميعا. بالنسبه للشيء اللي انا بدي اقدمه هلا اللي هي المحطات التحليه الموجوده حاليا بالاردن، اوكي؟ بدايه بالنسبه للديسالينيشن المحطات التحليه الموجوده عندنا بالاردن بتتراوح ما بين السمول سكيل لللارج سكيل، واحنا تقسيمنا تقريبا لللارج سكيل والسمول سكيل عن 50,000 متر مكعب بير داي او اكثر من 50,000 متر مكعب بير داي. هو بيكون بالنسبه لي انه معظم يمكن المحطات القائمه بالاردن تعتبر سمول سكيل، يمكن واحده او ثنتين يمكن تكون لارج سكيل عندنا، مثل الزارة معين، مثل مثلا ابو زيغان، والباقي تعتبر كلها سمول سكيل. هلا الفيجر اللي موجود عندنا هون اللي الرسم البياني رح يوضح لك انه في ديزاين كاباسيتي او اوبريتنج كاباسيتي. الاوبريتنج كاباسيتي اللي هي عباره عن الانتاج الفعلي اللي موجود عند المحطات اللي هلا قائمه، والديزاين كاباسيتي اللي هي لما انشئت هذه المحطات قد ايه كان لازم يكون انتاجها الفعلي من هاي الكميات المياه. لو نشوف انه في تباين ما بين 250,000 متر مكعب بير داي ل 150 متر مكعب بير داي عم تنزل. سبب النزول هذا راح يكون في اكثر من يعزى من سبب. السبب الاول اللي هي المصادر نفسها، المصادر نفسها المائيه، المياه الخام عم تنزل، الكميات المياه الخام عندي، ممكن زي ما قالت المهندسة هلا شوي الاستخراج الجائر من هاي الابار بتنزل لي الكميات اللي لازم نستخدمها من المياه الجوفيه، بالاضافه انه كفاءه المعدات القائمه في محطات التحليه بالنسبه لي يعني مع تقادم الزمن عم تنزل كفاءتها وبتنزل البروسيس تبع الكفاءه، فبالتالي ممكن كميه المي المفروض اني اخذها من هاي المواد او من هاي الاجهزه عم تنزل. هدول عباره عن محطات التحليه القائمه الموجوده عندنا اللي هن 20 محطه تحليه عامله تتوزع بين الشركات اللي هي مشغله لهذه المحطات سواء يرموك او المياه او العقبه ووتر كومباني. معظمهم حتشوفهم انه موجودين سواء قديمه او جديده، ممكن انتم سامعين فيهم قبل. هدول المحطات ممكن انتاجهم لو انتبهتوا من سنه 2000 وفي عندي جديده من 2022. في شركه واحده او في محطه واحده اللي هي عباره عن كيماكو اللي هي بس سي ووتر، شغال على مصدر السي ووتر وليست عن البريش ووتر، والباقي كلياتهم على بريش ووتر، بيعتمدوا على كمصدر. هذا توزيعهم الجغرافي للمحطات الموجوده عندنا، ولو انتبهنا انه المحطات معظمهم موجوده في الغرب من الاردن. ممكن اساس انا كيف تصريف البرايم، ممكن في تحتيج سلايدات لقدام انه تشالنجينج عندي للبرايم والتصريف تبعهم، فمعظم المحطات قائمه عندي في الجهه الغربيه ممكن اودي فيها البرايم على البحر الميت. من الليسته هون كمان زي ما قلنا كلياتهم عباره عن بريش ووتر الا كيماكو اللي هي عباره عن سي ووتر. هون بنشوف اللي هي مكونات محطات التحليه التيبيكال عندنا اللي ممكن نشوف فيها استخراج المياه من الابار الجوفيه، ومن ثم الرو ووتر او اللي هي بنسميها احنا البري تريتمنت، يعني بنسميها ممكن تكون استخراج مياه بري تريتمنت فيز، بعدين لتريتمنت اللي هي التحليه، ومن ثم البوست. الفيجر الاولاني او الرسمه الاولانيه اللي هي التيبيكال الاساسيه لما بحاجه انه ادخل ميه جوفيه من مياه الابار بوديها على الرووتر، بدخل كلورينيشن اذا احتاجت، مثلا اذا في عندي مثلا نسبه حديد، نسبه امونيا، في كثير اشياء ممكن لازم اتخلص منها قبل ما اوديها للار او، ومن ثم بدي اوديها للاريشن تور برضه نفس الشيء، اذا فيها ممكن يكون كبريت، ممكن يكون فيها حديد برضه عم اتخلص منها عن طريق الاريشن. ميديا فلترز بكمل اللي هي البوست تريتمنت، يعني كل هاي الفيزز عباره عن بوست تريتمنت. بنكمل على الار او اللي هي التحليه اللي بشيل فيها الملح، نسبه الملح من المياه، ومن ثم على البوست تريتمنت اللي هي المعالجه النهائيه لاي مياه، بحيث اني اوديها او اطلعها للشبكه مطابقه للمواصفات الاردنيه من الشبكه. الرسمه الثانيه اللي هي الزرامعين سبيكال، لان فيها الكونفشنال تريتمنت اللي هي فيها سيديمنتيشن وكوagulation، هاي مش كل المحطات موجوده فيها بس انها يعني موجوده في الزرامعين. اوكي، هلا احنا في الطبيعي انه لما نعمل اي محطه تحليه لازم نعملها مونيتورنج، يعني بمعنى اخر لازم نراقبها سواء بنوعيه المياه الشرب الداخلي لها اللي طالعه المنتجه منها وهكذا. فالاكثر من مرحله ممكن تكون اللي بوست تريتمنت، قبل شوي لما شرحنا قبل شوي قلنا في مراحل اللي اسمها بري تريتمنت، تريتمنت وبوست تريتمنت. معظم التحاليل اللي باخذها من المختبر بتكون بتغطي كل هاي المراحل، بحيث اتاكد انه هاي كل المراحل تاعتي كيف تعالجت المياه وهل هي يعني عملت حسب التصميم اللي انا بدي اياه او لا. بالاضافه للمونيتورنج للكواليتي للووتر، كمان بعمل مونيتورنج للظروف التشغيليه. الظروف التشغيليه اللي بتكون في المحطه اللي هي بريشرات بي اتش اي سي و يعني بي اتش اي سي تربيتي وتمبرتشر نور. هلا معظم المحطات اللي عندنا بتكون فيها اسمها اتش ام اي سكرين او بي ال سي، اللي بقدر فيها يعني اشوف انه هاي المحطات الاوبريتنج كونديشن حسب التصميم اللي موجود اللي انا عملته في هذا المحطه او لا. معظم محطاتنا للاسف ليست كلها مشبوكه على السكادا سيستم، لكن احنا في طور ان شاء الله يعني نمشي هذا الخطوه انها تنشبك على السكادا سيستم، ونصير نراقبها حتى في المختبرات، نشوف كل الاوبريتنج فيتشرز موجوده في المختبر. لكن بالعاده احنا بزياراتنا الدوريه وبالاضافه للمتابعات اليوميه مع المشغلين والشركات عم نتابع الظروف التشغيليه لاي محطات. وشكرا جزيلا لكم تسمع.
Now, Dr. Mu'tasam, who is Desalination Advisor at the Stormwater Utility Project at GIZ, will present the operational cost of brackish water and its major challenges. Please welcome Dr. Mu'tasam.
Thank you, Mahmoud, and good afternoon. So this is based on assessment of several desalination plants here in Jordan within the Desal project in GIZ. So there was assessment of OPEX or operational cost of 7 desalination plants, and as you see, the operational cost ranges between 0.15 to around $0.7 per cubic meter, and with average cost around $0.29 per cubic meter. Actually, if we look at this figure, we will see that Qatar Desalination Plant has the highest cost, and this is actually because this plant is a very small scale plant. Also, it's designed to have one stage, while the rest of other desalination plants is designed to have 2 stages. Also, in Qatar Desalination Plant, the water or the desalinated water is blended with raw water, which increases the capacity of the plant, while in Qatar Desalination Plant, the water or the desalinated water is not mixed. So the scale or the production is very low comparing to the rest of other desalination plants. And if we compare the cost, maybe you cannot see the range because of the surface, but the international range of the OPEX ranges between 0.39 and $0.66, which is higher than the cost of OPEX in Jordan. And this is mainly due to the labor cost. Labor cost in Jordan is low comparing to other countries. And also, if you can see in the figure that the highest segment of the cost comes mainly from the chemicals and from energy consumption. So let's elaborate more on the energy and chemical consumption in these desalination plants. So actually, the main energy requirements is for a reverse osmosis system, which needs around 10 to 15 bar to push the water through the reverse osmosis system. Internationally, the energy required for brackish water ranges between 0.2 to 3 kilowatt hour per cubic meter, which this range is wide actually because it depends on the size of the plant, depends on the design, the type of membrane, the recovery of the system, also the water quality. So that's why the range is a little bit wide. However, in Jordan, the energy requirement or specific energy consumption in the brackish water desalination plants is between 0.7 to 1.1 kilowatt hour per cubic meter, which is in the lower range of the international level, which is very good actually. Okay, for the chemicals, we need many types of chemicals in a brackish water desalination. The first part is about the cleaning of the membrane. When there is a fouling, which cover the membrane surface, it increases the energy requirements here, and we need more energy in order to push the water in the membrane. So we need to clean the membrane frequently in order to restore the performance of the membrane to its initial performance. We do cleaning usually at 3 conditions. If the permeate flow or normalized permeate flow decreased by 10%, or if the pressure differential increased by 15%, or the salt rejection decreased by 10%. So we have to do CIP, which is a cleaning in place, in order to clean the membrane. At the same time, we need to dose antiscalant continuously in order to avoid the precipitation of ions in the reverse osmosis system. So this is also another type of chemicals used in the brackish water desalination. We need also chemicals for the pre-treatment. This is including chlorination, coagulation to remove particles, etc. We need dechlorination, which is usually dosed before reverse osmosis in order to avoid any residual chlorine in the water that is going to the reverse osmosis, which could oxidize the reverse osmosis membrane. We need also chemicals for pH adjustment to adjust the pH. Again, we need chemicals for post-treatment. If there is no blending, for example, the Qatar desalination plant, which I just mentioned before, there is no blending. In this case, we need post-treatment. In post-treatment, we need to add more ions like calcium and magnesium in order to make the water is drinkable and meet the standard of Jordanian standard or Jordanian water quality. Next part is about the challenges of brackish water desalination here in Jordan. And actually, considering that desalination sector in Jordan is quite a new sector here. It's just 20 years, 25 years ago. There are still many challenges. The most important challenge actually is the water quality. As my colleagues mentioned at the beginning, the water, groundwater level decreases over time. Also, you see that what my colleague presented, the difference between the design and the projected capacity of the desalination plants. And this is actually because many water wells has been shut down in the recent years due to the lack of water quality or the water depletion. Another thing is about water quality. Water quality is also another challenge. Salinity is increasing because of the high abstraction of the water. At the same time, there is contamination coming from agricultural agricultural application, for example, fertilizers, or from industrial waste, so which lead to the contamination of groundwater. There is also significant variation in the water quality from well to another well. So even if they are close from each other, you can see a big differences in terms of salinity and in terms of quality. Also, in some locations, there is an issue of the radioactive isotopes, which is a big issue which need to be treated and have additional treatment steps before we do desalination or distribute the water. Other challenges about the managerial challenges, mainly about the staff. Actually, there is limited expertise in terms of desalination in Jordan. Jordan needs to have know-how capabilities and well-trained operators in the field of desalination. Also, a good point here is about the education. There is no dedicated program in water desalination in Jordan. Maybe it's just 1 or 2 universities give a course as an elective in their master's program, but there is no specific or dedicated program of vocational training on water desalination. Another thing is about the contract, about the outsourced contracting of the brackish water desalination plants. Usually these contracts is very short, which is 1 to 3 years long. Having a very short contract for the operator does not encourage the operator to invest in terms of maintenance and improve the performance of the desalination plants. That's why there should be a change in terms of the contracts. It should be long enough, at least 5 years and more than that. Another challenge is about the farmers. Many desalination plants here in Jordan are in rural areas. Like here, for example, is Rahma desalination plants. It's actually in the middle of nowhere. There is no paved or unpaved road, so it's very difficult to access this desalination plant. And knowing that the operator of this desalination plant stay in the plant for 2 weeks in order to shift the other stuff. So he has to sleep in the plant for 2 weeks, and after that, it changes after 2 weeks. Technical challenges, actually, there are many technical challenges. First one is about the spare parts. Spare parts is not available in many desalination plants. In this case, which leads to delay the responses if if something happens, if there is a failure, and you need to wait until you have a spare part to maintain or to repair the equipment and the tools, and this is delays the process. Monitoring system, as my colleague mentioned before, Engineer Tissam, that there is monitoring system, but this monitoring system still need to be advanced. We need here to have more advanced monitoring tools related to the fouling of reverse osmosis, related to the automation of the system, to have automatic reporting system, etc. So still there is need to improve the monitoring and advancing the monitoring system of brackish water desalination plants. Preventive maintenance also, there is a high need to have a preventive maintenance in order to avoid any failure. And also, all what I mentioned actually is linked to the financial challenges, because there is unsustainable and insufficient budget or funding for these water desalination plants. We have the issue of the monitoring, we have the issue of spare parts, we have the issue of the staff, etc. So all of these actually linked to the financial challenges. Environmental challenges, which is actually here, is not only in Jordan, it's international, especially when we talk about the brackish water, which is in land desalination plants. It's not in coastal area. In this case, if it's in coastal area, you can dispose the brine into the sea, but here we have brackish water, it's inland. So in this case, there should be strategies or management way in order to get rid of that brine. Another thing is using the chemicals. Chemicals, as I mentioned, many types of chemicals are used during pre-treatment or desalination processes. At the end, these chemicals should be environmentally friendly disposed. It should be treated before it's disposed. Also about the membrane. The life cycle of the membrane is between 5 to 7 years. So after 5-7 years, we have a damaged membrane. What to do with that membrane? We have to find a way to recycle this membrane, and this is actually an international issue, is not only in Jordan. Last but not least is about the use of the electricity. As you know, we need electricity to run the desalination system, and in this case we produce greenhouse gases which lead to environmental, to climate change and affect our environment. That's it, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Markusen, for the great insights. Now I will speak briefly about one of GIZ's achievements, which is the Desalination of Sea and Brackish Water Project, DSAL-1, which was a jointly effort between Ministry of Water and Irrigation, the Water Authority of Jordan, and GIZ. The main objective of this project was the strengthening of the institutional capacity, plan, operate, and maintain both sea and brackish water desalination plants across Jordan. But now, rather than just telling you, I just wanted to show you. Now I'm excited to show you a short film that is highlight the work done under Desalination, Project 1. Please enjoy the video.
Scarce country like Jordan, the importance of desalination is increasing as maintaining water supply security becomes more and more challenging. Climate change and overexploitation of groundwater resources have taken a toll on the country's conventional water sources. Additionally, Jordan's growing population leads to an increased demand for water. The National Water Master Plan of Jordan has identified a significant future gap in water supply. To address this, GIZ, on behalf of the German government, supports the Jordanian government in planning its future water supply. The Jordanian government plans to make substantial investments in desalinating seawater from the Red Sea through the Aqaba Amman Water Desalination and Conveyance Project. This project will establish a secure and dependable freshwater supply for Amman and other governorates in Jordan, with an estimated production of 300 million cubic meters of water per year, meeting approximately 40% of the country's drinking water needs upon completion by 2030. Until then, the only viable solution to establish a reliable freshwater supply for Jordan is the desalination of brackish water. A recent study conducted by GIZ has identified untapped brackish water resources that can be exploited for such purpose. Desalinated brackish water is often a less costly alternative to deliver water to certain areas compared with conventional water resources. Many remote villages already entirely depend on brackish water desalination. Currently, there are 21 operational brackish water desalination plants that cover 10% of drinking water demand in Jordan, while a significantly higher amount could be produced at full capacity of these plants. Zahra Ma'in is one of the biggest regional brackish water desalination plants that combines ground and surface water resources. Brackish water, which contains a slight salt content, requires desalination to make it suitable for drinking and other uses. The desalination process involves a pre-treatment system to remove suspended solids, organic matter, and other elements. For the desalination process itself, RO membrane technology is the most cost-effective method. To further enhance water quality, a post-treatment process is needed in the final stage. Apart from the product water, the desalination process results in brine residues, which is one of the major challenges that need to be effectively managed in order to minimize the environmental impact. In addition, the desalination of water faces other challenges, including the lack of regulations governing desalination plant operations, particularly concerning operation licenses and environmental impact assessments. As brackish water desalination operations will significantly increase over the course of the next 2 decades, the investment in maintenance and the current institutional capacity for planning, managing and supervising the desalination infrastructure are both inadequate. Many plants become dysfunctional in less than 10 years, leading to the deterioration of desalination facilities and thus reduced performance and production levels. On behalf of the German government, GIZ supports the Jordanian government in addressing those challenges through the implementation of the Desalination of Sea and Brackish Water project, aiming to enhance institutional capacities in the units responsible for desalination at the Ministry of Water and Irrigation and Water Authority of Jordan. To achieve this objective, the project focuses on several key initiatives. Develop a concept for licensing and environmental impact assessments for desalination facilities to reduce potential negative environmental impact. Support an improved institutional setup, tailored training, guidelines, and regulations enhance sector capacity, enabling better planning and management of desalination facilities. Implement the first performance and cost assessment of existing desalination plants that identify the necessary performance improvements, which play a crucial role in determining the feasibility and scalability of desalination projects. Propose rehabilitation measures for the assessed desalination sites. In collaboration with the water sector, the project is currently implementing the rehabilitation of 2 desalination plants in Hor Safi and Hor Mazra'a at the southern end of the Dead Sea. To ensure water supply quality and quantity, there is an urgent need for additional investments in brackish water desalination, both in the rehabilitation of existing sites and the construction of new sites. Such investments would provide improved access to drinking water, enhancing living conditions in the country until the Aqaba Seawater Desalination Project is completed.
Now, as you saw in the movie, there was a working rehabilitation case and Ghor Safi and Ghor Mazra desalination plants. And to bring this discussion down to the ground level, Engineer Ali from Aqaba Water Company will present a study case of this work. Please welcome Engineer Ali.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Today I'll be presenting the case study in Ghor Mazra and Ghor Safi, and also the rehabilitation works that happened there by GID. Okay. No. Okay. So as I mentioned, I'll be presenting the case study on the rehabilitation works that happened in Ghor Safi and Ghor Mazra desalination plants, which is located at the very end of the Dead Sea, or the southern region of the Jordan Valley, for the people who doesn't know. These two plants play a crucial role, I think, in supplying water for the community of Ghor, both for Mazra and the Safi, because not just because it's the only source of water for these communities, also because it has I think a problem with the quality and quantity, and we need to offer for these people, you know, a safe or a road for safe water. These plants were initially built to treat brackish water source, but over time their performance degraded due to aging infrastructure and the lack of maintenance, because it was operated by WAJ, and also because you mentioned before that it's remote areas, so it's far away, it's not easy to access for the people of WAJ, you know, to maintain or to follow up on daily basis, for example, in order to keep, you know, the quality of the water. But I think WAJ is controlling the quality of the product of this, I think, on a monthly basis. I'll say something about the capacity of both plants. Ghor Safi, it's around treated around 2.3 million cubic meter per year, while Ghor Mazra is around 1.4 million. Together they provide water to 8,000 of customers in Ghor Safi and Mazra, and I think which around 40,000 of the residents there. Okay. So here we will speak a little bit about the scope of work that happened there. The rehabilitation work included mechanical, electrical, and civil improvements. We replaced membranes and all the related components to the membrane, restored high pressure piping, upgraded the filtration system, and installed the new instrumentation like EC detectors and pH and flow meters. We also provide on-job training for the plant operators in order to ensure sustainability. Here's the Lord Safi, I think, a flow diagram. It shows the pre-treatment and the post-treatment and the blending line, and both the raw water tank and also the product tank, which delivered after blending directly to the people in the war. And I think it's not available, the water 24 hours, 24/7 for these people. I think it's available only 1 day per week for some areas, and for other areas, I think 1 day per 2 weeks. So I don't think the capacity can, cover the demand in these areas. If you allow me just to speak a little bit about the operation there. Both plants operate using conventional brackish water reverse osmosis process. Raw water is pumped from the wells, filtered, pressurized, and passed through the RO membranes to separate salt and contaminant. After disinfection, the treated water is distributed to the surrounding villages, as I mentioned before, providing a much needed safe water source in this arid or super arid region. I think this is Ghor Mazra flow diagram, and also I spoke, I think, enough about it. Okay. The scope of work, also as I mentioned before, it has electrical. As I mentioned, we did some work. We replaced membranes and restored the high pressure piping, upgraded filtration, and as we installed some instruments. Here, the impact of the rehabilitation on the energy consumption. Before that, over 6.5 months from January to July 2014, we monitored the plant using clear KPIs like power consumption, water production volume, and quality parameters like conductivity, pH. This helped us to evaluate the real impact of our interventions. The key result, we achieved up to 37% energy saving in some units, and overall here. Sorry. Okay. We achieved up to 37 energy saving in some units, and overall 13 reduction in operational expenditures. Water quality also improved significantly, and system reliability increased, reducing downtime and maintenance frequency. I think also this shows the operational cost and how it decreases. I want to mention the last but not least, this case study demonstrates that even small investment can lead to meaningful results when paired with a good planning and also stakeholder engagement and technical training. I would like to thank our partner at GIZ for their support, and also for WAJ staff for their follow-up, and also for Aqaba Water team that was leading also the rehabilitation process in both plants. And thank you for your attention.
Many thanks, Engineer Ali, for this concrete example of a successful rehabilitation and the value of investing in a plant modernization. All Safi and Ghor Mazra rehabilitation was one of the key points of the Desalination Project 1. And after finishing the project in last November, there was a follow-up project with a project called Strong Water Utility. To conclude, Engineer Hala will offer a forward look to perspective on the Strong Water Utility project Please welcome Engineer Hub.
Good afternoon again. First of all, I have to actually thank our colleagues from the water utilities and the water authority of Jordan to make all this success actually. Otherwise, we will not be achieving what we have achieved. As just presented by my colleagues, the previous desalination project laid the foundation for the understanding the operation conditions and the potential strategy for fresh water for Jordan. Highlighting on the gaps that were recognized in operation, in the monitoring, and the institutional gaps as well. Building on that, desalination right now is a core element and core pillar in the new project that's called the Stormwater Utilities Project that's recently been commissioned by the German government. The desalination component aims to strengthen WACH and the water utilities to increase desalination water supply by optimizing existing facilities and having proper planning for the future resources. Our focus now shifts from the assessments into implementation. Integration of tools, this will include integration of tools, systems, practices, and having data-driven options to optimize the facilities performance. So within this component, the effort is structured around two main objectives. It's difficult actually to look at the screen. Okay, sorry. So the objectives of this component is structured around two main objectives. First, to strengthen the capacity of WACH and the water utilities in the monitoring and operation and management of the facilities. The second is to support planning for future investments and for desalination, whether through rehabilitation of existing plants or for the development of new resources. Both objectives feed into ultimate overarching goal that by the end of the implementation, we aim for the actual reduction of the existing desalination facilities to reach 70% of the design capacity of its existing public plants. So that's the production. To track the progress, we have defined two main indicators, one related to the performance monitoring and the second one related to the infrastructure and investment plan. The first one related to the standardization of KPIs that will monitor the performance of the plant efficiency, the management of the brine, the cost as well. And the second one will related to the water, that the water sector will be expected to make investment decisions that result in an increase of at least 5 MCM per year in the production of desalination, that is through rehabilitation and new resources. Key activities related to the key activities related to the first indicator will be developing framework for KPIs for the monitoring of the plants with the aim and the objective to have regular updates and reporting on these KPIs for the unit that is reporting all KPIs in the water sector, the UPMU. The second will be related to integration of kind of automation for the monitoring through SCADA or other sort of equipment or systems to develop automated reporting schemes for the KPIs. Within this, we will also have a kind of level of assessment for the cost and performance of these desalination facilities to achieve the area for improvements and type of required measures that will lead into better performance. Other focus or cluster of activities will be related to the human resources and the brine management. So we are looking for developing capacity for the water utilities, the water authority of Jordan staff, as well as to coordinate with the academia to have better knowledge of and experience in the field of desalination for Jordan. For the dry management, we are looking for having an assessment for all desalination plants in Jordan to have a specific site selection options and measures related to each plant, and having a regional or let's say national roadmap for the implementation for better or the best options for dry management in Jordan. Having assessment for all desalination plants will reach into rehabilitation measures for a number of desalination facilities designed to be free right now. And the second cluster of effort will be that a feasibility study to be concluded for one new resources. Currently, we are looking for Abbasia to support the north region of Jordan through Wadi al-Arab 1 and 2. In parallel, we are looking to support the National Conveyor project by implementing or equipping the unit by a contract management system to enable the staff to have a better management and monitoring for the project agreement and the project performance. Thank you all.
Thank you, Engineer Hala, for ending the session on an optimistic note and showing us the path forward. Thank you all to our speakers for their valuable contribution. Now we would like to open the floor for a few questions and comments from the audience. Please feel free to raise your hand and use the microphone and ask questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this very interesting session. My name is Marco Arcieri. I come from Italy. I'm the president of ICAD, International Commission on Irrigation and Drainage. And of course, we are very interested on having information about the availability of freshwater resources for agricultural uses, of course, not only for drinking and civil purposes. So my question is to the people who have related this afternoon. First of all, what is the actual disposal of brine in Jordan from from the brackish water desalination plants? How do you manage this? Because I'm more dealing with seawater desalination plants, where I know that most of the brine, especially in the Gulf countries and in the Mediterranean area, in some countries is disposed of into the sea, but of course this is not allowed in the Mediterranean area, in Europe for instance, so it will never be allowed. So we are interested in having a new kind of brine mining typologies and new ways of using this brine, especially for chemical and industrial uses. So I was wondering whether brackish water brine could also be treated in the same way for recovery of heavy metals and minerals and so on. And first question. And my second question is, what is the, I think you showed something, but what is the average OPEX for this kind of brackish desalination plants, depending of course on the size and the capacity of the plants? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Actually, very interesting question. So, knowing that the recovery of a brackish water desalination system is around 70% in Jordan, and my colleague also mentioned that production is around 50 million cubic meter per year. Well, that means the estimated brine production per year is around 15 to 20 million cubic meter per year. This is the production of brine in Jordan. About how we handle it, actually there are different ways of handling it in Jordan. One example is to have evaporation pond. So in some desalination plant, they have a big pond where they put only the brine in it and allow the water to evaporate. And in this case, we can use the salt produced. But this is, I think, applied in just a few desalination plants. In other places, because there is no application of using the brine, it's exposed to the nearby valleys or the river, etc. So there is, this is unfortunate actually, and that's why my colleague mentioned that we need to have a study on management of the brine in the next phase of our project to focus on how we can handle the brine. The other question was? Yeah, as I mentioned in my presentation, the average OPEX is between 0.3 to 0.7, around 0.3 to 0.7 USD dollar. It depends on the, of course, the size. If the size of the plant is high, I mean large, in this case the cost goes down. If the recovery system is also high enough, the cost will go down. And also here a good point in Jordan, they blend the water with the desalinated water with raw water. In this case, we maximize the production, and in this case also we lower the OPEX. So there are many variables. Also the salinity. When the salinity is higher, we need higher pressure in this case. And when we need higher pressure, that is higher energy cost and increase the prices.
Yes, I was asking you, because your organization for this kind of agriculture process.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to have drinking water.
Yeah, actually, if you want to go for agricultural application, it has different way. For example, you don't need to have very clean water in the barrier. Maybe you are okay with 1,000 milligram. Maybe you keep also recirculating. Maybe you know the hydroponic system. And in this case, you just take the water after irrigation and recirculate it in the treatment system, etc. So it depends on the application and the water quality standard needed for such applications.
Thank you. I am Mohammed Mohamed, Aker Water Company. My comment, or maybe a question or something need to be cleared from GIZ or the WAD college, that we are now talking about desalination that provide the water budget by 10% from the water national water budget, and we are talking about national conveyor that will also provide the water budget by 40%. So I think it's the time today, now or yesterday, to start to think about the desalination and raise the desalination and the brackish water desalination above the table. Still now, strategically, in the water sector, talking about the desalination and brackish water as a byproduct. We are not talking about desalination as a serious issue. We are talking today, it's nice to, we have from GIZ a heat map for the brackish water resources, which is very good, so we can make a plan or roadmap for the brackish water resources. After completion of the national conveyor, I think we need a financial model that provide or help the operation of the water sector with the resources which will be more feasible to support after the national conveyor. We know that the national conveyor will be high cost for the operation. So now, do we have integrated water resources management for the future after the national conveyor? In the beginning of the national conveyor, water conveyor, the story was started to make a rest for the wells and groundwater to be more efficient in quality and quantity. Today we are talking about 40%. So do we have from the donors, from the water sector, a plan, a roadmap for the future after the completion of the national water conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Muhammad. Actually, for the heat map, the desal one, we have made kind of a scan for the Jordan, where we have potential brackish water resources, and the 19 sites has been defined. A set of criteria has filtered these 19 into 5 potential sites that we have presented. راجب، سويمة، حسبان، الأزرق، ضهرة الرمل, and حدثية. And now we have conducted pre-feasibility for these 5 sites, and we will consider one of them as a detailed feasibility study, conceptual design, and tendering in the scope of the desal 2 or the stormwater utilities. Having the fact on the impact, my understanding that you are looking for the financial impact of the national conveyor on the water sector, the tariff or whatever. In fact, it's out of the scope of the project, of our project, our capacity. You know, this project is something, a strategic, very strategic project, and has its sensitivity and details that we don't have a clue on it. But indeed, it's a national security source for Jordan, and we trust that the efforts all the efforts that we now in place to make this realized for the benefit of Jordan. To which extent that will be concluded, but what we been involved, the allocation plan of this resource, the national conveyor, when it comes to operational, how this will be distributed among the governorates and the water systems that needs to have, to bridge the gap on this. I hope this answered part of your question.
Thank you for your explanation. I'm Luis Bitat from University of São Paulo. I'm a geographer. And once I could visit a desalination plant in Sur, which is a coastal city in the Sultanate of Oman. And they were, at that occasion, using the brine to increase the pressure of the membranes. I don't know how, but they were, because it's a very, very dense liquid, they were using the brine to increase the pressure. Well, this is small, it's not a solution, but and also I could visit a research center called MEDREC, Middle East Desalination Research Center. Is Jordan a member of the MEDREC? Yes, yes, because they exchange solutions and innovations. Okay, that's just a small question. Thank you.
Answer about the brine pressure?
Yes, use something similar.
I think it's called osmotically assist reverse osmosis, what they use. So it's a new technology actually. They use saline water in the other side of the membrane in order to lower energy consumption and to minimize the energy consumption. But mainly the application of this technology in seawater, because the salinity of the brine is high compared to the brackish water. So when they use it in the permeate side of the membrane, the efficiency will be higher. Talking about MEDREC, yes, MEDREC is is a member. Jordan is a member of MEDREC, and we had collaborated with the MEDREC. Within the GIZ desalination project, there was a collaboration and the training and the exchange with MEDREC. And
Thank you very much for the session. You said that the amount of the brackish water is about 30 million cubic meter. How much?
10 to 15 million cubic meter
Also including the Abu Ziran and the Zaramai. Concerning Abu Ziran, you know that it's coming from the Zarqa group, which is also radioactive water. And then the brine would have concentrated the radioactive material, which will pose hazard. So until now, it's not finished. It's 30 years now, maybe, or more. So when we are going to address seriously those issues of concerning the health, public health, and the environment.
بخصوص الراديوكتيف مهندس سوزان، يعني بالبراين احنا لحد الان بنطور انه نعمل اداره للبراين ما جاهزه. لغايه الان ما في عندنا ولا اي دراسه لنوعيه مياه البراين. شو فيها راديوكتيف او اي شيء حلنا صحيح صحيح انا معكم صحيح.
As my colleague mentioned before, at Stormwater Utility, we will work in a brine management roadmap for the desalination plant, brackish desalination plant here in Jordan. And from this roadmap, we will work on each desalination plant individually and see what's the brine management areas that could be managed and what is the solutions for it or reuse it for it.
Okay, thank you very much for insights and for comprehensive introduction about the water desalination program advised by GIZ. Actually, my question is related to brackish water. As I can see, that's 50 million cubic meter produced by every year from the majority of brackish water technology of 21 desalination plants across the kingdom. My question related to the salinity, the average salinity of brackish water as a feed water. What's the kind of salinity? Are we talking about 1,000 to 5,000, whatever? Because this will have implication on the brine water quality as well. And the management technology is going to be deployed later on because it's cost effective if it's less than a certain number, or salinity. It has impact on the cost effectiveness of the management of brine water. My second question, but I'm not sure, is it feasible or viable right now within the brackish water technologies? Are these brackish desalination plants equipped with the energy recovery devices or not? Because this is most feasible in seawater desalination rather than the brackish water, because the cost as well, the capital cost, is very important for this. That's all. I think some questions may be raised by other colleagues. Thank you very much.
The first question about the salinity for the brackish water in Jordan. We have more than sources for fresh water, and the treatment plant is separated around the Jordan. So we have around 2,000 the TPS to 5,000 milligram per liter. So most of our plants are in this region. The second question about the PX or the energy saving devices, as you said, it's used in seawater, not in fresh water, because it needs the pressure in the brine to be more. The pressure in the brine for the seawater, it reaches maybe 70 bars or more than this. But in the fresh water, maybe it reaches just 20, something like that.
That's why
so it's not feasible, yes, it's not feasible
it's
to
not
use
feasible
it.
because of the TDS.
Exactly. That's
So,
it.
Thank you. As it has been presented, the most important challenges
dealing with brackish water are relating to sustainability, economic sustainability, environmental sustainability, and especially for the cost of energy. Have you planned to use solar energy? Is there anything in the future in report with this? Thank you.
Maybe we have only one plant that have been putting solar panels in the brackish water desalination water. But again, it's a brackish water, so the more the energy what we have is smaller than the seawater. So I think seawater maybe in the new project they have the capability and they have the study for to use the BD in this system. For us, we don't. I know that, but it's in small scale. No. We have small scale plants. Small scale plants don't have any more cost to be done in this plants to have the operation for the BD. Also, it needs money to put it there and to operate it. That's why. Maybe there is.
To my knowledge, there is still talks between the Ministry of Water and Ministry of Energy about involving these PVs in the. Yeah, but still there is talk. There is a possibility to integrate it in the future, but it's still not reached to the point that we say, okay, this is the implementation of the solar panels.
Maybe I just want to add that what's the existing regulation in terms of integration of the PV into the system, the grid, is still not mature or agreed upon that they are limiting the implementation into 1 mega, and that's something still. It needs a long process of approvals and to connect to the grid or not to off grid or on a grid. So it's something needs to be still solved within with the other institutions.
شكرا جزيلا. الله يعطيكم العافيه. شكرا. I'm gonna speak Arabic, so excuse me. هلا حكيتوا عن مشروعكم ديسال 1 وعملتوا ريهابيليتيشن وعملتوا شغل كثير كويس وحققتوا افشنسي كثير منيحه. سؤالي الى اي مدى هذا في استدامه وفي استمراريه؟ يعني هل صاروا الستاف تبع المحطات المعالجه قادرين يعملوا ريهابيليتيشن لوحدهم، يعملوا هذا التنظيف اللي دربتوهم عليه؟ فلانه احنا هلا شفنا شويه بيرفورمانس تحسن لفتره مؤقته تقريبا بس الى اي مدى هذا ممكن في المستقبل يستمر؟ ايش الاستراتيجيه اللي عملتوها حتى يستفيد هذا الامباكت؟
اوكي. بحب اجاوب بالعربي. لا عادي. صار في تدريب. اول شيء السستينابيلتي شيء كثير صعب بموضوع الديسالينيشن، وخصوصي احنا بنحكي عن ريموت ارياز وون اوبريتور، وعلى الاغلب بيكون يعني مش متعلم للاسف. واحنا بنحكي عن السوبرفيجن بيكون من مناطق بعيده، بس صار في تريننج على كل الليفلز، مش بس عن طريق الGIC، كمان صار في تريننج يعني انترنال تريننج. احنا بنحكي مثلا عن اداره الوقود محافظات الجنوب بمياه العقبه، اهتمت جدا بالكاباسيتي بيلدينج، لا مش بس احنا بنحكي على السوبرفيجن ليفل، برضه على الاوبريتور ليفل. صار في وعي اكثر كيف متى يعملوا الباكوش، متى صار تكنيكال اكثر الموضوع. هاي على ليفل كاباسيتي بيلدينج. احنا بنحكي اظن انه هذا اهم شيء للاستدامه، وبده يعرف. بس في احنا لسه، اذا بتسمحوا لي الكل يعني، بس احنا لسه ناقصنا شغله، سواء بقطاع المياه في الاردن او بحكي انا خصوصي بمنطقه الغور. خلينا نحدد، هي المصدر الرئيسي او الوحيد للشرب لهذول المناطق كامله. واحنا بنحكي عن 40,000 ريزيدنت. صار بسوى هسه انه يعرفوا الفاليو اوف ذا ديسالينيشن. بحس اكثر لازم يعرفوا هذول الناس حتى يحافظوا اصلا، سواء اوبريتورز ولا سوبرفيجن ولا مانجرز ولا دايركتورز whatever. لازم يعرفوا الفاليو انه هاي مصدر وحيد ولازم يحافظوا عليه، زي ما بيحافظوا على الاكوفيرز مثلا، او بيحافظوا على نحكي مصادر المياه السطحيه حتى الموجوده حواليها. ثانك يو.
آخر سؤال تفضل.
Thank you. My comment, just clarification comment and another question. My clarification comment is related to the deployment of solar energy as a PV technology, because there are many technologies for solar energy. But for example, the PV to operate the RO brackish water desalination plant. For time being, it's booming over the world right now using the PV, and it's much feasible to use the solar energy to operate the brackish water, because the brackish water requires less energy than the seawater. Another question is related to nexus, water, energy, and food. And as you see, that the production of crops requires certain quality, not more than, for example, it depends on the crops, not more than 1,000 milligram per liter or ppm for crops like cucumber, while other trees requires up to 3,000 like olive trees. Is there any plans or ongoing projects of desalination to deploy desalination technology in agriculture, irrigation right now here in the kingdom?
Thank you, Dr. Mahmoud. Just to clarify about the solar energy or solar panels, there is a regulation here in Jordan about connecting the, as my colleague mentioned, about connecting the PVs to the water system. If it's more than 1 megawatt, in this case there is a fine, there is a procedures, etc. And if these PVs will be in grade or off grade, so there is a rules for it. That's why there is negotiation between the Ministry of Water and Irrigation and the Ministry of Energy about these rules. Okay, that's why the implementation of such solar desalination is still not reached to implementation one. The second point is about what was the second? Yeah, agriculture. Actually, there are reviewed desalination plants used for agriculture here, but this is out of scope for WASH because they don't work on it. Maybe farmers, maybe not Shulna, or they have like more than 20 farmers who have the desalination system for agricultural purposes. But anyway, this is out of scope of this session.
And with that, we wrap up our session. A big thank you to all our speakers for their contribution, and to you, our audience, for your attention and engagement. And I want you to leave you with this. Desalination is not just a technology, it is a strategic level for resilience in water-scarce regions like Jordan. Thank you all.